All right, back with more number one Cochran Sports Showdown. Now we're talking about the Wildcat, which surfaced again, and it seemed like Jalen Samuels was put in a bad position, Ron Cook, right off the bat when he had to decide what to do, and he made the wrong choice, throwing it up for grabs, an interception that resulted in a Mark Ingram touchdown. I guess the question is, was it really a case of not trusting Mason Rudolph down the field? That, to me, is his strength, and it seemed like they were afraid to do it until that happened, and then they did it right on the next series.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I mean, it's one thing for Samuels to do those little forward laterals. They count as completions to Connor or whoever's coming through, but to have them actually throw a pass out there made no sense to me at all. And again, you know, they seem to be trying to protect Rudolph so much, and once they let him play, I think it was Josh that said, he made some plays down the field for him.
Yeah, and same
Didn't
thing
like
with
it at
Hodges.
all.
When Hodges was allowed to play, I thought he did some good things too. And you know, Ron and I might disagree about the overtime decision, but we're on the same page here because I was laughing because Tomlin said during his press conference, part of the reason you're not going to see the Wildcat as much, and it wasn't going to be as much, but even if it was at all or sprinkled in as much as it was, I wasn't expecting to see it this much, is because Baltimore's adept at defending it because they see it all the time. And in practice, Lamar Jackson runs versions of either the Wildcat or this Matt Canada jet sweepy kind of stuff, the misdirection. They're used to seeing it. Ed Reed went down there and talked to those guys this week, and Baltimore tweeted out a video of Ed Reed speaking to the Ravens players. And he said, they hate you in Pittsburgh, and I still hate black and gold. I hate that jersey you're wearing right now. And he points to a scout team guy wearing Jalen Samuels' jersey. What do you think they had just been practicing? It was out there for everybody to see. They were ready for it, and yet the Steelers kept going to the well even after they stopped it a couple times initially.
The interception thrown by Samuels was so amateurish, and they fell behind 10-0 very quickly because of that decision largely. And it's a shame for the Steelers because I really think from that point on, they were the better team today. I thought they outplayed Baltimore. I thought they were better at the line of scrimmage. I thought they made Lamar Jackson, frankly, look pretty bad at times. But that decision-making to go with the Wildcat, listen, Cincinnati's not Baltimore. Cincinnati's one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in the NFL. Maybe that stuff will work against them. Mike Tomlin, after the game, even called the Wildcat gimmicky and said that's why you don't use it very often. Well, why are you using it on the second series of the game in the biggest game of your season when your season's on the line?
Yeah, and it's not like Baltimore's
no
defense is any good. They've gave up 500 yards in each of the previous 2 games. You can't run the ball a little better. You can't let your quarterback throw it there. Instead, you have a running back / slot guy throwing it. Made no sense.
Another thing that makes a lot of sense was I don't like when coaches take timeouts either in their pockets to leave a game or to leave a half. And the Steelers had a timeout left after the interception by Mike Hilton. Josh, it was right at the end of the first half.
Yep.
I mean, Lamar Jackson had been picked twice, and all of a sudden the Steelers in position to tie the game. Instead, they have to settle for yet another field goal. They let clock just tick, tick, tick. Never used a timeout when Jalen Samuels made a catch, didn't get out of bounds, had to go back to the huddle. I just don't understand why.
It happens every week. I think Mike Tomlin's a good coach, but this, I think, as we all know by now, is clearly not a strength of his. There are guys like Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin who will drive you nuts every single week if you watch them and pay attention to clock management. I think it was Bill Simmons who once had the old theory that every NFL team should hire a 12-year-old kid that plays video games all day and knows exactly when to take timeouts because they literally know better than some NFL head coaches. This happens every season with the Steelers. It's
Bob,
really
what about
not
the end of the
acceptable.
second half, too?
Yeah, that happened again.
Why not take
Right.
one? Why not take one at the end of the second half as well? Because I mean, look, go back to the New England game 2 years ago when Juju ran down the field for 70 yards to set up what became the Jesse James play. Get a big chunk, and with the way Boswell's been kicking, I can't believe I'm saying this, with the way Boswell's been kicking, maybe you get a field goal and you could avoid overtime and the coin flip and everything else.
Ron, I want to ask you about the quarterbacks moving forward.
Oh, boy.
We know there's no Roethlisberger. We know now probably there won't be Rudolph next week. I mean, unless he flies through the concussion protocol, but it looked very serious, at least from concussion degrees sense. So what do? They have Paxton Lynch. He at least is a #1 draft pick, some guy who was thought very highly of. It didn't work in Denver or Seattle. But Devlin Hodges looked like he was ready to take this on today. What do you do?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you have much of a choice, but one of those 2 guys, it looks like you're not going to find somebody else on the street right now to bring in here. I thought Lynch might be the #2 guy today. I thought he might, once he learns the offense, pass up Devlin Hodges, but I've been told he hasn't practiced very well. They're not real comfortable with him. I'm not sure Hodges belongs in the NFL. I know he looked good today, but I mean, I think it's a frightful situation to go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers next week with either one of those guys, and I don't know what else you do.
Yeah, agreed. I think for the next couple games, you might as well just stick with Hodges. And then I think once Mason Rudolph gets healthy, then you put him back in there because you have to figure out if he's worth keeping around either as a number 2 or the heir apparent to Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Hodges certainly looked comfortable today. I give him a lot of credit for what he did. He looked very poised to me. I think you have to start him next week. I don't know what Rudolph's condition is, but given that I think the bye week is the next week, I'd be awfully surprised, even if he's cleared by the end of the week, if they would let him play. Listen, the Chargers lost at home to a bad Denver team today. They're not very good. To me, you give the ball to James Conner 25 times, you try to win a game 16-13, and you get to the bye week and you figure everything out.
All right. On that note, it's time to go around the horn for this week's Smooth Moves, brought to you by Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops you're going to find anywhere. Our good friends at Armina Stone. Smooth Move, Josh, start with you.
I'll go with Mike Sullivan for putting Dominic Simone on the top line. I've never been a huge fan of Simone's because, frankly, he doesn't finish. But you know what? Given Brian Russ is out of the lineup and how bad, frankly, Patrick Hornquist looked on the top line on opening night, it was probably the right move. Crosby looked a heck of a lot better. He likes playing with Simone. Let's leave Simone there for a month and see just how good he is, because the coaches, they sure seem to think he's that good.
I'll give it to Garrett Cole for his timing. Can you do better than to have a monster year than when you're becoming a free agent? 15 strikeouts again yesterday, 7 innings, almost unhittable. He has been as good as any pitcher in baseball this year. He's going to get a nice payday at the end of this.
I think, well, I got to give it to the guys who pushed the medical cart off the field at Heinz Field today. My God, what if Mason Rudolph really needed to go off on that medical cart? We could have both offensive lines push it on behalf of both teams. What happened there?
I don't know. Apparently operator error, and Mason said I'd rather walk out. I don't know, but I do know this. Armina Stone is Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops you will find anywhere. Score a touchdown in your home and bring in some Armina Stone. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Penguins, who are 1-1. And they had some smooth moves last night themselves. That's next.